Jai Hind everyone, welcome back to the Patriotic IS. Let's start our current affairs classes. The first topic that we will cover is from the GS paper 1. And on the Hindu, the first topic we have covered this is the Rongali Bihu, and this is celebrated at the New Year for the Assamese. Okay, so here today is the cultural significance for the many of the society. One is the Assamese, and they are celebrating it in the form of Rongali Bihu. Again, you will see that the first year of the Bengalis is celebrated at the Poila Baisakh. In the Bengali, it is the Poila, and normal in our language, normal Hindi, it is the Pahila Baisakh. Okay, so it is known as the Poila Baisakh, and this is again the Bengali New Year. So it is the yesterday, 14th of April, yesterday we celebrated it as the Ambedkar Jayanti as well, the birth anniversary of the Dr. Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar. Here you will see that it was started by the Mughal Emperor Akbar, and it was mainly to streamline the taxation process because it is the harvesting season, and when the harvest comes, the state was expecting some of the tax revenue from the farmers because during the medieval period, the total dependency of economy was on the basis of the farmers and the agriculture. Now, the farming and agriculture only contribute for the 14 to 15% of the total economy in terms of the tax collection or the overall purchasing power. But in the case of the employment generation is still near about 45 to 50% of the population are engaged into the agriculture. So this thing you should remember. So here this is very insignificant. Next news, that is the Mary Basilica in the Kochi remains closed for the another Holy Week. So in this you should remember that this week that is going on, that is known as the Holy Week, and it is started from the 13th of the April, and it will continue till the 20s of the April. 13 to the 20 of the April it is started. It is associated with the Jesus Christ. On the 13th of the April, this is considered the first day. Where is this? So this consequence goes on the Easter day, and Easter day is the resurrection of the Jesus Christ. So this is the continuously when the Jesus is entered into the Jerusalem. This is the first day. After that, this is the crucifixion. After that, the resurrection. All these days are celebrated as the Holy Week to the Easter. Next news is the Choksi was arrested from the Belgium. Here we will locate where is the Belgium. Belgium, the first thing you should know, it is the country located into the Europe. Here it is the Belgium. Please open your map, and in the Belgium, please locate the surrounding area. In the northern side, it is the Netherlands. The capital of Netherlands, Amsterdam. The capital of Belgium is the Brussels. Here you will see that the Strait of Dover that connects the North Sea with the English Channel. This is the English Channel, this is the North Sea. This is connected through the Strait of Dover. This is important, please remember. In the eastern side, it is the Germany, and on the southern side, it is the France, capital Paris. So please remember all these things. What are the countries that are located in the western side, northern side, southern side, and the maritime boundaries with the North Sea, and it is the British Channel on the western side connected by the Strait of Dover. Please locate yourself. Next news that we are going to cover is the ASI seeks to shed new light on the Dwarka through the exploration. So here we have started to know about the history of the Dwarka, and we know that this Dwarka that is known as the Bet Dwarka, this is believed that here it was the home of Lord Krishna. So please remember. And this Dwarka, this temple is located here. So there is so much mystery that is there, that it was the original place where the Lord Krishna ruled, and further the things associated with him is belong from the Dwarka, and it submerged under the sea. So all these things, whether this theory, this story is true or not, ASI is searching. Still, there are so many to come. Next news that is talking about the history, a battlefield, the perils of the reversing the past. Here, this is discussing about if history become the ideological battlefield. Now we have seen that the different political party in India, for example, it is the BJP, it is the Congress, they are fighting on the ground of how the historically different community deals in the with the different communities in India. Particularly with the kingdom of the Mughals, how the Mughals rules before the Mughals, how there was the rules. So all these things become the battleground if we do not take it in a sincere manner. So here you will see that it is started with if you will start this history as a battleground, so there are so many personalities you appropriate, and also so many personalities whom you vilify. For example, the Aurangzeb and the Mughals rules, now it is vilified. But there are the many local leaders, those who are associated with the Hindus, they are considered as the heroes, and they are now appropriated by the present regime, or due to the ideological battle. The main thing is that here this article discussed that when you start the this history as the battleground, so you should not bring the clarity, you bring the complication more and more, and ideology on the ideological ground you try to complicate the things instead of this history teach about the what are the wrong we have done into the past, how we can rectify it. This is the main thing. We study the history. So here it is talking about the history, not just about the remembering events, but it is about the understand the causes, consequences, and the context of the different events that took place in the history. So if you are going for the reading history, you should know that how our civilization grew. For example, how the Indus Valley civilization came, after that our Vedic civilization, then the Mahajanpadas, in between there was the reform movement under the different leadership that emerged into the religion latter. For example, it was the Buddhism, Jainism, it was between the Vedic period and the Mahajanpad. So please remember all these things. Whenever you study all these things, you try to know what was the causes behind the change, how the Indus Valley civilization that perished, that ended, and after that how the new civilization, particularly the Vedic civilization, started. After that, how there was the reform movement, how there was the Mahajanpad, what are the technology, what was the science behind that, the grew. So whenever we study history, we try to know all these things. But whenever you start appropriating some of the personality with yourself and vilifying the other, so it's become the conflicting situation in the present time. And here the writers has mentioned that, there have been the many such things that has been happened into the past and that resulted into battle and war. Here it has been mentioned that there was the revisionism. Revisionism, that means the punarlekhan of the Itihas, and due to this revisionism, there was the cause of conflict, wars, and the prolonged suffering. Because whenever you revise the history, you revise as per your convenience. What you like, you try to extend that, expand that, and whatever you don't like, you just eliminate that. What we are saying, that the elimination of that particular part that is associated with the Mughal rules, Aurangzeb and Akbar, particularly different Mughal rules. So we are revising the history, and by that, what we are creating a conflicting situation into our own population. This is the main thing that we should avoid. Here it has been mentioned that even if you will see that the maximum war into the Europe, it was due to the religious appropriation of the Christianity and Islam. For example, there is the fight between the Christianity and the Muslim due to the claim of the Jerusalem here. Particularly for the many years they have fought. 30 years war was fought for this religious appropriation. So here it has mentioned, Beside that, you will see that here, this has mentioned that the 30 years war from the 16th and 17th century, this was particularly, it was based on the reviving the historical grievances that yes, we have been impacted by the history into the past, and we will try to take the revenge of that. So whenever you use the history as the revenge part, that becomes the destruction and suffering into the humanity. Here you will see that it was attempted to correct the perceived wrong through the violent reversal, but this is not for the violent reversal. Instead of, there should be the reconciliation. Reconciliation means you accept that yes, there was some mistake, and you try to rectify by the understanding each other. You have to make the your point of view to the other community, and other community try to accept that, and other community try to express their own view, and you have to accommodate their view as well. So there is the reconciliation. Yes, there was the wrong, but we will not do the other wrong to rectify the previous wrong. This should not be there. So here you can use this whenever there is the question on the basis of the how the history should be perceived, how it could impact the revisionism of the history. So you should bring all this point. You should bring the different wars that was fought on the ground of the revisionism of the history, all you can utilize. Beside that, you can also see that the Christianity, they fought with each other. There was the two main stream of the Christianity. One was the Protestant Reformation movement, and the Orthodox, that was the Catholic dominance. This Catholic is the known as the Orthodox, and they have the view that yes, they have the view that is very much like the follow the orthodoxy. They believe in a lot of superstition. There was so much restriction on the human rights and the human freedom. It was very much rigid. So to deal with the rigidity of this particular Catholic dominance, there was the reform into the Christianity, and that came as the form of the Protestant Reformation. In the Protestant Reformation, they tried to bring so much freedom for the human, like how they could have the relationship with the other partner, what will be the process of the divorce, what will be the process we could deal with the other religion. It was so much more gentle, it was more softer as compared to this rigid form of the Catholicism. So we saw that due to the Protestant Reformation, we saw the modernity into the Europe, particularly into the 14th century, 15th century. They started a new discovery, they started new type of the exploration across the world, and you see that due to the new exploration under the reformist Protestant movement, there was so much accessibility across the world, and trade again came into its original form that we saw into the Silk Road time. Okay, so please remember all these things wherever there is the reformation, but here the writer want to tell that we have seen that under this Catholic dominance, and they brought a term that is known as the Crusades, and the Crusades were encouraged to fight for your safety and expansion of the Christianity. Crusades, particularly, if you must have listened the term jihad. Jihad into the Islam, the same is the Crusades into the Christianity. They are fighting for the expansion and the expansion of the Christianity to save the Christianity. This is the concept here. So please remember this Crusades and jihad. They are very much similar term. Further, the writer has brought the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Again, this is based on the revision of the history. The Palestinians have their own view that this is the Arab land. The Israelis, that is Jews, they think that this is their original land, this is their homeland, and they are claiming, and they are fighting with each other. Again, here the reconciliation, we saw that in the last 2 years there has been so much destruction, there has been so much casualty into the Gaza. Again, you will see that the Russia-Ukraine war, again it is based on the revisionism of the history, that Russia believed that after the USSR, there is no right of the Ukraine to secede, because they think that this boundary line of the Ukraine, they are overlapping, they are the historically part of the Russia, and that's why they are claiming that there is no stake of the Western Europe in the Ukraine. So this is again, you will see that the legitimacy of Ukraine dependence after the Soviet Union, this is rejected and questioned by the Russia, and Russia always think that this Ukraine should be always under the Russian umbrella. Here the main purpose of the history should be as a teacher. It's teach that what you should do and what you should not do. Particularly the teachers, they explain that what is the good thing, what is the bad thing, how we should be learning from the previous mistake, and how we should rectify our own path, our own future prospect. So this is again the history as the teacher. That is the main goal, and it should be treated as just to learning process, not the claiming their ideology, not the uh, try to create the hegemony and the dominance. Next news that is talking about the feminism for the polarized times. So here you will see that the particularly it has been written on the ground of the delimitation that is being the contested between the northern Indian states and the southern Indian state. Here you will see that we continuously going through this type of the article where the impact of the delimitation has been discussed in the context of the federalism. But here this article is discussing this delimitation in the context of the women's reservation bills. Again, the delimitation also going to be impacting the seats distributed for the women. So here it has been mentioned that there is need for the structural change, and particularly whenever you talk about the structural change, you talk about the societal design to keep women at the margin, particularly subjugated to the men, and the interpersonal relationship of the women with the other human beings, particularly the males, has been so much guided and so much restricted. So here this is talking about how the state can play a role that could bring a change in the mindset as well as the institutional change, and institutional change is only possible when we bring some change into our constitution, we bring some bodies, we bring some concession. And one of the things that we are providing is by this political empowerment of the women by the bringing this women's reservation bill. Beside that, we also need the economic independence of the women's legal protection, and also educational societal network and the cultural change. All these areas where men should work, men not whole the humanity, whole the system, whole the society should work to bring all these changes, to bring the change into the life of the women. Particularly the relationship, particularly the equation of the power for the decision making. The first of all, this is the very important, it is the cultural change, and it is the mindset, and this will come only by the educating the women. And the social networking means if there will be the more education, if the women go at the higher hierarchy of the decision making powers, so they will have the societal network. Societal network, just take example. If I want to take admission into some college into the Mumbai, so if I have the social network, means I must have some of the relations, some of the known person, friends who all present there in many of the best colleges of the Mumbai. Easily I can send my relative there. But what about that, those who don't have such type of the connection? So social networking is very important. It is invisible, intangible, but yes, this create so much positive and the affirmative ground for those who have the social networks. Education, this bring you should, how you will know that, what is your rights, what is your entitlements. For example, yesterday it was the Ambedkar Jayanti, and Ambedkar has the he liked the slogan, he gave the slogan, educate, agitate, and organize. So first thing that without education you will not know your rights, and if you don't know rights, how could you agitate? Agitate means to do the struggle. And after that, it is the organized, so that in the future there could be no such exploitation or no such marginalization if you are organized. So this was the view, but yes, in the reality it is invisible. Effective reform works multiple level. Again, it is the state role. society role, and the context-specific solution is always needed. State role, what state can do? Different schemes we see the government makes, different type of the protection that government provide, different type of the policies. For example, there is the, for example, if you take the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So this is the, again, creating a affirmative ground, a ground where the women can be saved, and further they could be educated, and after that they could have the participation into the decision making. So state has very enabling power. Again, the societal level, the society, how it's changed its mindset, this also impact the overall, situation and the condition of the women. So these are all the things that has been discussed. You can use this into the GS paper 1 as well as into the essay paper. Now, GS paper 3, the first news, that is the Choksi arrested in Belgium as India seeks extradition. We know that the extradition in India, it is done through the a specific provision we have, a specific act. This is the Extradition Act of the 1962. So please remember that. Okay. So this extradition process will dealt through the agreement with the other nations. You must have been knowing that the India have extradition treaties and agreement with the 49 countries, near about 49, 50 countries that is there. And here we also already know that we have the extradition treaty of with the US. Previously we saw that there are the Tanawar Rana that has been brought through the extradition treaty. Now it is the Choksi. Choski was particularly, he was alleged into the banking fraud. So we want to prosecute. So this extradition process is the process when you start a particular criminal has done a crime in particular one country. For example, it is the India where the Choski have done the crime. He has flew to the other countries. Now he is into the Belgium. So it is the Belgium's government where he is under the sovereignty of the Belgium. So it is the responsibility of the Belgium to that to arrest and send back to the India so that we can prosecute in the Indian law system and the Indian courts. Generally, each of the country tried to save its citizens until and unless, or anyone who is coming to their countries, until and unless there is some special clause or some special agreement or some special treaties with the other countries. Telangana became the first state to notify sub-categorization of the scheduled caste. So please remember the sub-categorization of the scheduled caste, don't confuse with the ST caste. Now the judgment has been for the scheduled caste, and sub-categorization means the creamy layer, a type of creamy layer that we want to bring into the SC's scheduled caste as well, so that the rationality of providing the reservation or the aim and the goals of providing the reservation, so that the benefit it could bring the benefit of the most marginalized section, particularly those who have been impacted due to the historical wrong we have done. So subcategorization, a positive move, and you should take its your stand that yes, it is good. But however, there are the negative thing as well. Many of the colleges, universities, where we have seen that these departments where the government was to recruit the seats for the professor and other employee and the staff, they have been vacant. And in the many of the colleges, many of the IITs, near about the 80 to 90% of the seats that are reserved for the SC category, ST categories, and OBC that has remained unfilled and vacant. The main excuse that has been given is that these the candidate from the SCs, STs, and OBC, they are not even qualified for the minimum standard to fill this postage. So if you are talking about that they are not qualified, so how could they be, they comes under the creamy layer as well. So this is the thing, there is the two opposite ground that has been taken. In the southern state, they are going for the subcategorization, but in the northern state like the UP and Bihar, many of the regional parties, they are not ready to go for the subcategorization because they think that if we will bring this creamy layer into the SCs and STs, so it's create the hinders into the fulfilling these seats and the benefits to the SC category. Loan now cheaper. This will be part of GS paper 3, not here. India agency approach Belgium for the Mehul Choksi's extradition. Again, we will see that what the process that is going on. You should know the basics about the extradition process. Now the forensic sample can soon be analyzed by the private lab. So it will expedite the process of the prosecution. Now we know that in Indian system, the main thing that we are suffering is due to the delay in the justice. And delay in the justice is due to there is the very slow process of the forensic report that it is provided to the court for the further processing of the cases. So due to this initiative, forensic lab, they can be now analyzed into the private sector. So it will expedite the process. It will increase the pace of the prosecution, and that why the time span when we deliver the justice by the court, that could be reduced. So this is good because we know that near about the 5 crores of the pending cases into our lower courts, and there are the near about the 60 lakh, 50 to 60 lakh of the pending cases into the high courts, and near about 60 to 70 thousand of the cases that is pending in the Supreme Court. So the pendency, this pendency and the delay of the delivering the justice is the main issue of our judicial system, and this could resolve by this process of giving the power to the private lab to go and investigate the forensic samples. Next news, again, this is repeated news, the unnecessary change. This is particularly with respect to the RTI Act through the Data Protection Bill. And we have seen that there is the one of the provision that prevent the agencies to provide the datas of public authorities, particularly who are involved in different projects or the public work, to the people. And particularly you will see that these are associated, whenever you talk about the personal data, it is always associated with what is my caste, what is my age, what is my other personal data. So these type of the thing many times create the safety issue of the particular person, and particularly after this Puttaswamy case, the main focus is on the saving the privacy of the people. But when you go for the more deeper into privacy issue, you always go to create challenges, particularly into the right to information. And right to information is equally important, and it has also been recognized under the Article 21. So two areas, right to information, right to privacy, both conflicting with each other, and now we need the balance. So this is the main topic that there has been being discussed into the public domain. And particularly you should remember this section 44 of the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. The full form DP is the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Okay. So here it has brought that any personal information without the considering public interest we cannot disclose. And whenever you say that if there is the personal information and you have to consider it under the public interest, it gives lot of discretionary power to those information authority or the officers who provide this. And when you go at the higher level, this create this will create a negative setback to those, like if I am going for some personal information, if they are asking that to go at the higher authority, there is the chances that even 100 people, if they have applied, and if they are asked again to go at the higher authority, out of 100, near of the 30 will think how I will not go, because this bring some other task to you, and whenever you face the other task, it is due to the different reason, like you don't have the time, you don't want to involve in such thing. So it will discourage people from the seeking more information. And if the people will not seek the information, it will negatively impact their informed decision-making process, and that's why ultimately it will impact the democracy in a negative way. So please remember all these things. Now, GS paper 3, loans now cheaper as major banks cut. Okay, so we will see. We will first start with the different scientific terms that has been provided, given into the today's news, paradox of the youth. What is mean by the paradox of the youth? This refer the presence of the massive, a young star near the a massive black hole, supermassive black hole. So this negates that if there is the black hole, so it is considered that black hole will engulf everything that is coming or the nearby. So if there is the young star, this is not possible to exist very close to the supermassive black hole. You know what is the black hole? The black hole system where it, it has the infinite gravitational force. Means if there is the single point and there is the infinite mass that is situated, that is concentrated on single point. For example, if the earth is that much, think that there is the contraction of the earth, and one day whole the earth mass is brought to one point. You can imagine with the example of there is the cotton or the wool that is expanded, disposed. Now you started concentrating, and you concentrate, what happens? The volume decreases, but the density increases, and density as a particular mass increases. Now in this volume you can bring this amount of the cotton or the wool. What will happen? Just imagine if there is the earth and we are continuously bringing its mass and reducing its volume to a single point, and whole of the mass of this sun is concentrated on single point. You can imagine the gravitational force, gmm by r square. So r square. So the radius is 0, and this mass remain the same. So you can think that this becomes the infinite. Okay, so infinite gravitational force will be at this particular point, and whenever anything comes into that range, the origin of that particular black hole, so nothing can escape. It just enter, nothing could go outside. So that's why we have the very less knowledge information about the black hole, but we know that the black hole exists. Even we have many of the pictures that is coming from the telescope, and we are seeing that yes, what could be the structure outside the structure, but not, we don't know what is going on inside. So if there is the young star nearby this supermassive black hole, that is known as the paradox of the youth, because it is not possible, because whenever anything that will be in the nearby, this black hole will engulf. But there is the possibility, we have find even our Milky Way, this is our solar system, and in our galaxy, our solar system, that is part of the Milky Way, and Milky Way is a galaxy where whole of the system exists. And in this, there is the one of the young star that is existing into nearby the Sagittarius. That is the name of the supermassive black hole that exists in our Milky Way galaxy. Please remember this, our galaxy where Earth is existing, our solar system is existing, that is known as the Milky Way. And the one of the largest black hole that is existing in this our Milky Way is this is the Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Please remember this, in the pieces they can ask, and please remember this concept that normally it is considered that this is not possible to exist a young star into the very supermassive black hole, but this is existing, and this is contrary to this concept, this theory, and that's why we know that this paradox of the youth, because this is not possible, but this is existing. We don't have the theory, we don't have the knowledge how this is existing, and that's why this concept is known as the paradox of the youth. Now one more thing, nitric acid corrosion to the steel when diluted. So here you will see that the nitric acid corrosion of the steel. What is the role of the nitric acid? Particularly nitric acid, this behave very different from in the diluted form, and the behavior of this nitric acid in its concentrated form is different. So why this is happening? Because there is in concentrated nitric acid, it acts as the passive oxide layer. Means it form a layer above the steel, and that's why it protects from the corrosion. If the air will not come into the contact, it cannot transfer the moisture and other chemicals with the steel, and if it is preventing from the chemical reaction or the interaction from the outside particle or the any of the external particles, so corrosion is not possible. So in the nitric acid, it forms the passive oxide layer, but into the diluted form, this passive oxide layer doesn't form, and that's why there is the corrosion. So please remember, in the chemistry, this is important. This can be asked into the PCS prelims. Next thing that has been covered into the today's Hindu is the Moravik paradox and AI and human sensomotor skills, sensory motor skills. ठीक है. Here, the main thing that is here, it is discussing is that how the AI works. Here, AI try to simulate whatever we do, whatever we try to do for we try to walk, so the robot try to walk in the same manner so that the human can do, how the human can do. They try to recognize our face so that they can learn that what are the expressions we make during the different reaction responses. But the thing is that modern AI that is not able to copy the way we have humans do. For example, walking and the recognizing the face, they are not able to do, and by the normal algorithm this is not able to achieve, and this particularly is known as the human sensory motor skills, and here this fails, and this particularly have been observed by the Moravik paradox. So please remember that. So what we are trying to achieve, now we try to bring the advanced algorithm and the learning method to AI interaction, so that this physical world, particularly the way we react and the response into the way we walk, the way we facial expression could be recognized. They want to try to bring this technology to recognize this, to make the AI more efficient. Next terms that has been covered today is the second wind. What is the second wind? So here you must have been observed that when we do the late night, we wake up till the late night beyond our the normal sleeping time. For example, if normally I sleep at the 7 o'clock, and if I get up at the 6 o'clock in the morning, but consider that one day I just get up at the 4 o'clock, and in the night, midnight, till 1 a.m. in the night, I have not slept. So there will be the tiredness, and initially you will feel that there is so much tiredness around the 7, 8 o'clock. But whenever you extend your this active timing beyond your sleep time, what will happen? There will be the reaction to your body, and this is known as, particularly when this reaction will be there, you become so much alert in that particular time. Instead of feeling so much sleepy, there will be a time where the alertness is very much high, and it is due to the disturbance of the circadian circadian rhythm. This is the thing. This is normal way our body responds, our body adapt the way our timing of the doing different tasks into the daytime. For example, we do different tasks. We have the different timing to take our lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Also, we do particularly very much high physical work at particular time. So body adapt, and it's make the circadian rhythms. But whenever you go beyond this particular circadian rhythm, so there will be the suppresses the sleep signal, and that's result into the very high alertness, and that is known as this second wind. I think this is clear. Next thing, again from the science, water stride. So water strider, you must have been seen there are so many insect and there are so many species, animal species, they can walk on the water. So how this is possible? Like if you will go into the water, you will drown, your leg will sink. Okay, but there are so many other species who can walk. What is the reason? So this is mainly based on the surface tension of the water. If the weight of a particular creature that can balance and that could make it lesser than the surface tension. For example, you must have seen that if there is the oil, in the oil, if you will throw some weighted thing, they can be above, they will not sink, they will above the surface, because the surface tension of the oil, particularly some dense oil, is very much high, and the weight that we have thrown, that is not able to break that surface tension of the oil. The same is happened with the water. If the weight of some particular species that able to distribute its weight in such a manner that is lesser than the surface tension of the water, that will not sink. So this is happened with the water strider. They distribute their weight across their legs, and this is just distributed in such a manner that balance the surface tension and that repel the water in such a manner that it is still lower than the weight of this surface tension, and that's why they can walk. Whenever there will be the more pressure, they could go inside the beside the surface tension, and then that can sink. So generally this doesn't happen. This happened whenever we do not able to distribute our weight. For us, this is possible. What could be the future implication? If we will learn this water strider, how they are working, they are balancing, we can make the robots in the future, they can walk on the water. This is possible. Into the future, you will see that the robots, and they are able to walk on the water. We have seen such type of thing in the movies, but this could be reality in the future by this study itself. Now one more thing for the patients, they can ask from the science section, that is the tardigrades. Any of you know about have listened, heard the name of the tardigrades? Who are the tardigrades? Please respond. Those who are watching online, you can respond here. We can interact with each other. We can make this session more productive. Anyone? Okay. So tardigrades, they are very special species. They can exist in the extreme situation. Even in the case of the extreme heat condition and in the even extreme condition of the pressure. For example, in the oceans, you know that there are the layers. After that, it is the pressure of the ocean becomes so high that the species cannot exist, particularly at the depth of the ocean. So here the tardigrades, they can bear this, and this is done by the tardigrades. This process is known as they do it by the cryptobiosis. By the cryptobiosis, what they do, they lose almost all the body waters and reduce the metabolic activities, and this become to the near zero, and this create the survival condition. Are you getting? What is the main thing? How these tardigrades survive into the extreme condition. They can even survive into the space, and even where there is the temperature that is more than 150 degrees centigrade. Normally we see that if there is the higher temperature, the any of the species, they cannot exist, but this exists, and you will see that their existence is from the last 500 million years ago. They start evolving, and even they can survive into the outer space. Okay, so all this thing you should know about the tardigrades. Cryptobiosis, that you should remember, this is the thing that help them to control their metabolism, and here you will see that they can exist and the absolute zero and even 150 degrees centigrade. The boiling point is the 100 degrees centigrade. Even above that they can exist. They can even face the oceanic pressure. Even in the oceanic trenches, you must be knowing oceanic trenches in the ocean, the deepest point is known as the trenches. Mariana Trench, that is the deepest point. Next, the news, that is the loan now cheaper as the major bank cuts the rate. So if there is the loans cheaper, how it could impact the inflation? Any one of you please respond. If the loans become cheaper, how it impacts the inflation and the growth, economic growth, how it will impact. If the loans cheaper, means more and more people go for the loan, opt for the loan, they will have the more money in the hand, they will go into the bank, and bank will provide the money. If I have more money in my hand, I could use either it in the consuming different products, goods and services. If it is for the consumption, so it will result into the inflation. Okay, inflation means if there is the 10 people and they have the 100 rupees to buy the apple, and the apple costs for the 200 rupees per kg, they will less people will go for that to buy the apple. But everyone have the 1,000 rupees, everyone will go. And if everyone will go, what will the those who vended, particularly the shopkeeper, will think? He will increase the price of the apple. So it will create into the inflation, more money chasing the less product, and that's why if the money is more, so the higher price will be there, and this will result into the inflation. And what about the economic activity? If I have more money, I will invest in my companies, I will bring more machines. More machines means more employment generation, and that's why it will expedite, it will increase the pace of the economic activities. So GDP will be positively increased. So here the inflation will be one side and the economic growth will be on other side. Economic growth, it could increase as well as inflation could increase due to these cheaper loans. So we need to balance both of these. Inflation is not good for the normal consumer. Stocks surge after the US tariff exemption, even the terms double down on the China. So here you will see that the yes, due to his pause, he has paused for the 90 days to implementation of the tariff. So it is good across the stock market. It has been perceived as good, and it has been perceived that this will expedite the overall the growth perspective. But the thing is that on the China, the stand is the same. So here you will see that still there is a confusion in the global market. Here it has been mentioned that the this news, it is talking about the AMIT GPS is spoofing claims. IAF, Indian Air Force, says Myanmar mission were achieved as planned. So here the thing you should know this, what is the GPS spoofing? GPS spoofing is just like the scam. The way like you see that on digital media we see lot of such thing. So the GPS spoofing means if you will ask some location on the GPS, that will be hacked by some of the cyber criminal, and they will give you a wrong location. Where you have searching, you will not get the right, you will get the wrong location, and by that you could be trapped. So this is the GPS spoofing. By this, the cyber attack that involves the generating false GPS signal, and you will be misled. And particularly in the aircraft, if it is misled, it is by the enemies. Enemies try to mislead you and try to bring such in a trap where they could attack, and there could be the casualty. Okay. मनी फ्लो ज़्यादा होगा सत्यम, इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ जाएगा क्योंकि मांग ज़्यादा. या राइट, गुड सत्यम. So this is about the GPS spoofing. GPS spoofing could be used by the enemy countries, particularly to trap your aircraft and attack. So please remember that this is one of the way of the cyber attack. So whenever they can ask into the prelims, you should know what is the GPS spoofing. The other thing is that the NOTAM. NOTM, this means notice to the airman. Whenever there is any confusion, the pilot, they ask that the specific information data, and this is given to the NOTAM. This is the notice filed with the aviation authority to alert the pilots about the potential hazard. So whenever this GPS spoofing takes place, so the pilot is alerted by the NOTAM. So you should know what is the NOTAM as well. So this is all about from the today's news. Here we will conclude our session. Thank you for joining the session. All the best. Jai Hind.